What's up, guys? It's John, and I wanted to go into tonight's games, today's games, and of course tomorrow's. Today, on paper, we should have done a lot worse. I feel like we had both of our leg threes, or I think we had three leg threes. Let me see. Yeah, we went 1 out of 3 in our leg threes, and just a lot of misses. Luckily, we had a parlay come through with Paul, Steph. They both won. Tennis in general, again, doing really well. That was our only leg three win was in tennis. So again, it's a small sample size. Maybe picking the threes is the way to go because I think I've only picked matches of threes for tennis for like the last several times we've done tennis, and we typically go 2 out of 3. So and actually we had a couple 3-0s. Again, it's a very small sample size, but we're doing well from what I can tell. Today, I think we're gonna finish down 3 units again, which isn't bad at all as far as if you just look how bad we did as far as hit rate. But we lost our leg or both of our leg threes in basketball. We let Texas A&M Commerce got blown out, so down 4 units. We did get the Long Beach State cover, so down 3. We missed George Washington. They got blown out, so down 5. Pacific, I haven't graded yet. The reason I graded Missouri, and just I chalked it up as a win, which puts us up at -3. And of course, tomorrow this could change, but it's the fact that we're getting 12.5, and Missouri's gonna have to pull some crazy stuff off just to get the game to overtime. And sure, they can go to overtime and get blown out by 13. I just don't see it. You don't have a ton of time in overtime, so it would be a very strange. It's basically like having 5 minutes left in the game, essentially, and it's a tie game. Now, I wouldn't always chalk that up, but again, first the game has to get to overtime, which they need a few things to happen. So anyway, should it change, then obviously I will, as I always do the next day, go into exactly how we finished. And Pacific I didn't go into because even though we should hit that one, they're down 10 with like 5 minutes left, but it's Pacific, so you never know with them. But just based off of the circumstances that need to happen, again, I don't even think Missouri's going to get it to overtime. But if they do, I still don't think they get it. So that's -3, -7 because we lost our other leg three in college, -6 because Arkansas came through, back to -7 because IUPUI did not, down to -5 because the 2 unit for Denver came through, -4 with Kentucky coming through on the under, back to -5 because Wright State, -6 and -7 because Western Illinois and Eastern Illinois both finished exactly at 129. Go figure. -9 because both of our 3-point guys didn't come through, and tennis is what came through and really helped today. We got 3 units on the day for the Paul Curry split, so that's -6. Back to -2 because Diminor came through against Dimitrov like we thought he would. And then -4 because Greek Sport didn't cover. So Pacific comes through, we're at -3, which is what I think we'll be at. But you never know, it could finish -5. So hopefully we keep it to the -3, that's always better, of course. And hopefully nothing crazy happens with Missouri, you never know, but I don't think it will. And I wanted to go into, because tomorrow we don't have a lot of plays, but I'm trying to get out of, because we'll have good weeks, bad weeks, and we're still doing well. And especially since like I know for the last several weeks, been doing really well, and I'm trying to find different ways to incorporate the system. So I went back to like the beginning. As you can see, we're hundreds of pages in, and I went back to the beginning and I looked for the couple times we really got a lot of value, and it's something I'm going to try going forward. And it's no guarantee, but basically with this system, obviously, a leg 3 loss is the same. Whether it's a plus 150, a plus 300, a minus 100, it doesn't matter, right? You lose the same. So in order to do a better job of eating the juice, because that's always what I think most people come down to at the end of this, is we've been doing very well. We have like a sweet spot with money lines between, I'd say, like 130 and 170. We had several times this year. Now, a couple came from tennis, but for the most part, it just really came through. I strongly considered making this Rutgers beats Minnesota play for 2 units and then doing another 2-unit play on the cover. because I really like the cover is what I like. Minnesota is just defying history. They're like 12% of the next ahead of the next squad covering. That's not going to continue. So then it's like, okay, well, that doesn't mean Rutgers is going to win, right? So I thought about splitting it up, but to be honest, we have so many plays with this system as far as our leg threes go. I think on a few, especially like two leg threes, what I do is I'll try and do the plus 150 on a leg one, which is nice. You know, you get a 1.5 unit payout. But if we do it on a leg three, and that's what I like about this system, now you're netting about 2 to 2.5 units on the sequence. You know, so the sequence would be leg one loss for say $10, leg two loss for say $20, and just to round it up, we'll call this a plus 150 because for some people it is. Now you're getting $60 on the leg three for 4 units. So what happens is it exponentially goes up, and we're not just going to have a 1 unit loss, a 2 unit loss, and a 4 unit win plus one, right? And when we do that, it's nice, and we've been doing a good job, like I said, especially since adopting tennis, kicking hockey, things like that. We're destroying the juice. We're well on the profit, even counting for that. But to do a better job of being that, I noticed because I went through every play we've ever done just to update them, and several hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of plays. And there wasn't a lot of times that we did like a plus 130 on a leg three, leg two. We usually do it on a leg one to be safer. But again, since this system is all about value and just playing the numbers over time, I think running more of the plus odds on leg twos, leg threes is going to definitely pay out in the long run. Sure, it could cause us to lose a couple more leg threes. I definitely get that. But anyway, you can do whatever you want. I just always try and adjust, as we've done with tennis, as we've done with not playing particular money lines, not playing a bunch of money lines, but I think reserving them, especially ones where, again, I think they're definitely going to cover. So then it just comes down to if they win. I think the money line will be on Minnesota as well as the cover, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, I like this one a lot. So it's going to be about, again, 150. It's going to be a leg three for 4 units. We don't have many open sequences. That's a good thing. But we do have a lot of leg one losses after today. So we don't have a ton of plays. That's another reason the ones we have in play are for more units because they're ones I really like. FSU, or FAU, USF. I love this over because of the same reason I like the Memphis and SMU over. Now, this one's for 2 units, but USF is 30% on the over. FAU's 50. So for them to be set near 150 makes no sense to me. So I like that for 2 units to go over. Ohio State, I just think Purdue is going to get way more of the money, lay in the 8.5. Looks like a complete trap to me. So again, we have more leg twos to close. That's why. So another leg two for 2 units. Got Ohio State covering. Memphis SMU, I made that a leg three because again, it's the same deal. It's for 4 units. 155.5. That's something you see out of Arkansas, Pine Bluff, or these teams that have Denver. These teams that have been going over. Denver wasn't even set this high, I don't think. So this is really suspicious to me. Memphis is better on the over than the other teams, that than USF, FAU, SMU, but they're not doing anything insane. So I feel like the public's going to be all over the under here. So I love the over here for 4 units. And this one, I want Team West to cover Team East. I think they'll win, but again, the whole purpose here is to beat the juice as best possible. So I just took the cover, and I went with it because I noticed, I didn't really notice this until I went back and just checked. LeBron James won every single finals, or not every single All-Star that he coached. I think he's like 6-0. When they did that format, I think he's beaten Giannis 2-3 times and then Curry a few times. I think he beat Durant once. So, yeah, he's like 6-0. I went back and checked. And the last time he lost was in the finals when they did the West versus the East. And him and Steph were the captains. And Steph beat him. So, you could say it can go either way. Like, oh, he's going to get his redemption. But I think the mini streak in the middle of losing in 2017 till now is very peculiar. So, I like the West to win. I think they're definitely going to win because of that reason. And, again, it's an interesting one because it kind of feels two streaks, because Curry gets to continue his. Now LeBron's doing it with Curry. They're joking about him going to the Warriors. Not joking, they're talking about it, him going to the Warriors. So it keeps LeBron's mini streak where, that was kind of untouched. This is kind of on each end of it. And now he's winning with Curry. It's kind of maybe a little bit of foreshadowing, actually. So I like this one a good bit. I don't love the cover. You see these games, a lot of times the 3 point games, but you'll see 1, 2 point games in the All Stars. But again, you have to kind of pick your battles, and I think you're getting minus 130. You could do a parlay like we did today. I just didn't see anything that I loved outside of these separate matchups, and I do think that parlays they can be good. If we're running them as like a leg three maybe, and we love two plays, and we're gonna get plus 200 on a leg three, definitely worth it. But for the most part, I try and avoid parlays. So we ran it today with tennis, but I don't see any tennis matches tomorrow that I like. Most of those tournaments were in their finals, so yeah, we'll definitely be running a lot of tennis. I think come Open time, French Open, we're gonna just do phenomenal. Just because I feel like the read we have during the minor tournaments, if we're doing well, it's only going to be stronger during the majors when you have these guys that, again, half these guys, I don't even know who half these people are in tennis. I just fade them or take them because sometimes it's weird that they're getting the odds they are. Tommy Paul, he's not even ranked as high as TFO as far as Americans go, so, that one just seemed kind of weird. Diminar, again, I get the ranking, he's moving up, but nobody has him with Dimitrov yet, I don't think. Now they might, but certain guys, you'll see Medi playing, and he's barely a favorite, and it's always a dead giveaway to me. So, or when Sinner just played Medi in the Open, Sinner was like minus 220, and I get he was playing well and all that different stuff, but when you see lines like that, it just really makes it obvious. Actually, I did really good live there. I told people to pick Sinner, but he was a favorite. So what happened was he dropped 2 sets, and a lot of people on the Discord jumped on him then, so that was nice. But anyway, yeah, now we only have 5 plays tomorrow, but a good bit of units in play. And I'm just going to try this going forward as far as, again, there's a lot of money lines we ran that the spread would have hit, so you run into that. But again, that's because in the past what I would do is, okay, we have 10 leg ones to work with, or, fresh new sequences. It's only one unit. Let's do a bunch of plus 150s, and a good bit of them might hit. But then what happens is now we're going to leg twos on them. So in the long run, I think less money lines, but savoring the ones that I think are really good plays for more value. Leg two, leg three is the way to go. So tomorrow is going to be very good or very not good. Probably not much in between. We don't have any leg ones, all leg twos and threes. So today, again, by the time this video is done, you'll probably know exactly what happened. But I think we'll finish minus 3. Again, that Missouri going to overtime and then losing by 13 would be ridiculous to me. Oh yeah, and I wanted to talk about just the absurdity of the 3-point contest. So we were able to get that, not the contest itself. We had, I went with Halliburton and JB thinking between them one would get it. The back-to-back makes sense though, I suppose, but just Sabrina shooting the lights out, which, again, and I've made this argument to people that think the sport is real, and they're like, oh, she would never do good in the NBA. I'm like, well, I think it's scripted, but she shoots like 3-4 feet behind the line. Like, her shot was like a corner 3 anyway, so now whether they have magnets on for her, I really don't know. But I brought up all these people saying she wouldn't do well in a college sport. I said, well, I think the magnets are on for all the guys anyway. But I would wager to say she would do pretty darn good against a guy, and she would probably do good by NBA standards. So they're definitely pushing that. Now, the other thing I said, and this is why we picked them, there was just no way they were going to let Steph Curry, in my opinion, lose to Sabrina. It would just completely shoot the reputation of the NBA down and of him. They've built him up as this complete... It would be like Larry Bird losing to, I don't know, Candace Miller, was that her name? Cheryl Miller? Whoever it was, Reggie Miller's mom. But it just, you're never going to see it. So there was no way Curry was going to lose that, in my opinion. But of course, they had Sabrina tie. They couldn't have her beat it. But tie the record from, not the record, but the winning score from Damian Lillard. So she's as good a three-point shooter as Dame. But again, the story is Steph won, the NBA guy won. So I love that, but I just thought it was the most scripted nonsense I've seen in quite a long time. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to go into the system as far as I think why we've been doing so good, especially as of late. Like I said, we took such a beating on hockey. I think we lost like 20, 30 something units from hockey. And we've been doing phenomenal ever since. I said total, I think it's around 35 units in the profit, and that's counting hockey. Unfortunately, of course, we count them all. Without hockey, we've just been like going nuts, like 60 units or something in the profit, and then of course juice to account for. But yeah, it's in my opinion revealing when there are certain sports we just can't miss on, and we just happen to have this perfect read. And then baseball, we didn't do it on here fortunately, but I tried some baseball last year, just completely failed with baseball. So baseball and hockey, I concede. Maybe they're more numerology based. Baseball's set up around numerology and the pentagram and all that nonsense. So I stay away from baseball. I'm staying away from hockey now. And tennis, yeah, just again, I think it's as scripted as the rest of them, and it's early on, but we're between like 15 and 20 picks, I think, and we're at like a 80% hit rate. So, and that's not including we got the last three opens. As far as we had Alcaraz beating we had Djokovic beating Alcaraz in the Open because of the revenge. Then we had Alcaraz winning in Wimbledon because it just made sense that they weren't going to have Djokovic pass the golden boy Federer on that surface, and then of course Alcaraz gets his back. And then we had Sinner winning the Australian Open because I said we had to establish another guy. So we got the French coming up, and I would say that's probably the most obvious of all of them if you look at the field. So yeah, I think we're going to do tremendous with tennis going forward. And yeah, I just wanted to go over the couple plays we have tomorrow, couple leg twos, couple leg threes. Obviously, Rutgers would be the nicest one. And it doesn't seem like a lot, like I said, netting like 2.5 units on the sequence versus one. But it really is a ginormous difference. It makes it where each leg three loss is just, assuming we get this one, we don't have to win nearly as many to negate a leg three loss. So I know a lot of people, and there's a different Chris who wants me to give him a call. I will give you a call if you're watching these, Chris. I know I messaged you a little bit on Discord. I've just been really busy, and I've been today trying to get everything as far as the best metrics, I think, going forward, because I noticed we're doing well, but I was also like, you know what? There was like a 2 month period where we just went nuts, and just in general, as far as like between, I'd say in the 2 months that it's been about 2 months, 2 weeks, but I'd say like there might be like in the period like a week, and we didn't do it around the same time. But we were doing it more for the NFL. I can say that. We did it with the Rams. We did it with the Lions. We did it with the Chiefs against the Ravens. And by doing these plus 150s as leg ones, we're just getting away with a 1.5 unit, on the day. On the sequence, 1.5 unit. But by running this, type line 145 here we're getting tomorrow as a leg three for 4 units, it really just makes it's like 6 units on the day alone. And it's just, I think, better value. So it's like, again, not the first time we've done it. It won't be the last. But I want to try and, since we do a good job, I think, again, when we pick out certain ones, not just running a bunch, but when we pick out just one or two with the plus odds, I think we'll do pretty good with this going forward. So, again, even if we miss the Rutgers, the other ones can come through. I really think the West is going to win. It's going to be a matter if they cover. And between USF and SMU, I know we're getting a split. I think we'll get them both, though. So, again, not a ton of plays, just 5 that I like. And, covering just college basketball and the All-Stars. No tennis tomorrow, unfortunately. So, at this point, tennis just seems like a guaranteed, 3 to 5 units. But, unfortunately, I didn't see anything. So, there's no tennis tomorrow. But, yeah, the couple basketball games that I really like. Hopefully, Rutgers comes through, and we'll see next couple of weeks if we start incorporating the money lines into the leg threes. If it works out better, obviously if it doesn't work out better, we'll revert because we don't want to sacrifice our winnings, obviously. So, we were up over 50, and then that dropped to like 30 something. So, want to make sure that we don't get greedy just because we're doing well as of late. So yeah, just wanted to go into all that. Again, I think officially it's like plus 32. I'd have to check and then check the juice and all that. Chris is always sending me spreadsheets and such, so I always go into them and try and cross-reference, and basically, from what I can tell, both our numbers usually come out pretty darn even, so he uses charts and everything, and Excel, he does a good job calculating the total amount put out, the total amount that we wound up doing, so again, I think we're going to continue doing good. I know a lot of people wanted me to explain the system, so like that's just a little bit of more behind the weeds stuff. The simple explanation is that it's a Martingale 1 unit, 2 units, 4 units. If we lose only 4 units, we cut it off. But then you extract on it a little more, and you'll see why. Again, the plus 145 here is a leg three. Of course, it might not work out, but I think long term it's better than running them all as leg ones. Just because if there's a money line that we really like, and again, Minnesota is 87% against the spread, you're just not going to see that. It just doesn't happen. So they have to, in my opinion, even finishing at 80% is basically history defying. So I think they're going to have a couple losses on the spread coming up, and I'm willing to take the value that hopefully it's not a win, a win no cover for Minnesota, like a 2 point game. And I think more of the money is going to be on their money line anyway. So we got that one, and then of course, like I said, we got Memphis will be important. Hopefully, I think that one's definitely going over. Just set incredibly high. So yeah, looking at -3 today, I could be wrong. Anything could happen. If Pacific loses, again, that would be -5 instead because we're currently -4, contingent on Pacific. And again, unless Missouri does something nuts, which I'm pretty sure they're just going to cover that 12.5. So, like I said, that 3 point contest, just ridiculous. Basically exactly what we thought was going to happen. Curry was not going to lose, but of course they had Sabrina look amazing, and they had to have the magnets on. There's no way. They, it'd be funny if they had her without the magnets, and then they were like, oh shit, like they were going to have them just do it fair. And then she went nuts, and they're like, okay, we can't have Curry lose. Like, but, what did he must have set a record. He hit everyone but one, so I don't know. It just seemed more ridiculous, and this is how I think they're going to start basically letting people know it's scripted by showing us how ridiculous like the All-Star can be, and then people will start seeing that the in-season tournament is way more physically demanding, and they seem to care more than the rest of the games, and all these different deals, how things change up in the playoffs. And it's funny because the NFL, I'm done with their damage control because they don't make any sense with it anymore. Like they put the most obvious blatant script in the world out there for the Super Bowl, and I thought, okay, that's it. They've conceded. They're gonna do whatever they want to do. They don't care. But then they're putting out articles like every day up until today. People think it's rigged. People think it's scripted. All these different deals. There's something else I wanted to go into on Kansas City as well because, again, with the scripting, it's pretty interesting how they tie everything together. But I'm surprised they're still even trying the damage control articles. I'm like, who are they trying to convince at this point? Anyone reading this stuff isn't going to believe them. Maybe it's new people that are like seeing it and they're like, oh, what's this saying? And it dismisses it for them. But they're certainly not convincing any fans that were on the fence with these articles saying, nope, it's definitely not scripted. I thought they just weren't even going to talk about it, but it's funny that they are. So we'll have to see what they're doing. That's another thing when we're like really ahead of the curve and like we see exactly what they're going to do and why. Then when it happens, sometimes it feels like, okay, this seems too obvious. But then we have to remember there's a lot of people that it's not obvious to. So there's a lot to go into, but we can save that for another video. I more just wanted to go into the, as I put it, the boring metrics because they are what's important and like extracting value, making sure that, again, we have more hit positive days than negative ones. So we did 8.7 yesterday. I think we finished up 8.7 units. So today, if it is -3, obviously that's nice. I think we're slightly up on the week if that's the case because we had a -17, but we had a +15, then a +8.7, and then a -3, and then today might be a -3. So very close to even on the week. So obviously I want us to finish the week strong, and tomorrow is the last day for that. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, just wanted to go into that. I wanted to go into just different things I'm trying, that not even trying, that I've noticed in the past, like where we're profiting like four units or something, 4 to 6 units on a play. It's a lot of these leg threes, and we haven't run a ton. We haven't run that many plus as leg threes. So again, it's a smaller test sample, kind of like tennis, but it's also one that, again, it's definitely safer than doing the leg 4 deal, which we tried before, and again, that's why I don't do it. We did 2 of them so far, and we missed them both. So you put that in perspective, we'd be up even more if I didn't do those leg fours, because that's 16 units between the two of them. In total, it's 30 units because it's a 15 unit sequence. So it's a lot. So there's a reason that most people that do the Martingale, again, they wind up just running through their bankroll, and it's because you go after leg three, you keep doubling up, and you're just gonna not do well. So I wanted to go into all that, the not chasing, and just something that I think going forward is going to continue to do well is saving the plus odds. Of course, you don't want to. You're kind of apprehensive to do it, but at the same time, they say scared money never wins. So I think looking at the value and going back, we have like over 500 plays. Looking at where our plus odds on leg two, leg threes have done, we've done pretty darn well. Leg one is basically 1 unit. I would do a bunch of money lines on those, and then we'd miss 80% of them. And then you're setting yourself up with a bunch of leg two, leg threes that we got to close. So I think this will help our overall value, and between all the plays, I think we'll definitely have a plus day tomorrow. So take care and happy earnings.